This is why manifesting the multidimensional way is so sexy, because every time you bust through a new grid, you're actually calling back more soul memory and you're becoming more of who you really are. You're limiting beliefs and the rules that you're either consciously choosing to play in or unconsciously choosing to play in is creating literally the paradigm that you are boxing yourself in. The primary school, elementary version of manifesting is I'm going to visualize my new car. I'm going to saturate my subconscious mind with what I want. That's good. That's good. It's very basic though. The multi-dimensional advanced way is I'm Alex Tripod and this is the manifestation game. After coaching thousands around the world and becoming one of the most trusted voices in manifestation, I realize you don't get what you want, you get what you embody. If you're a high-achieving business owner who knows they were born for more wealth, more impact, more freedom, this podcast will unlock the codes. So let's collapse timelines. Let's calibrate to the frequency of your future self, because let's be honest, nothing is real. Everything's a hologram. Let's fucking go. Welcome back to another episode of the Manifestation Game. And today we're going to get a little bit multidimensional. That's right. I'm going to teach you how to manifest the multidimensional way. It's going to be a little bit of a masterclass. I'm not going to lie. I feel like a little bit of a teacher here, school teacher. Got my blackboard, got my pens, got the wipe. It's all happening. So, all right. You're going to hear some concepts today that might sound a little bit woo-woo, a little bit galactic, but my mission is to really ground them so you can grasp what these concepts actually mean. And then you can actually understand how they apply to how you're creating your reality. So I'm going to talk about multidimensional manifestation in terms of grids and codes. So when we look at a grid, when I say the word grid, all I want you to think is this is explaining the playground, the box, the energetic container that you are either consciously or unconsciously choosing to operate in, to play in. So think of a grid, and I'm going to draw it up right now. So think of a grid literally like that. It is the box, right? The box that you are choosing to play in, the grid that you're choosing to play in. And every grid, right, contains of a set of rules, codes, and beliefs. Without rules, codes, or beliefs, there is no grid, right? So the rules, the codes, and the beliefs actually create the grid or the energetic container or the playground that you're choosing to vibrate in. Now, what's really interesting when I talk about a grid or a playground is think about anyone that's ever created something out of the ordinary to evolve humanity. They've had to think outside the square. They've had to think outside the box. So it's almost like I want you to think of your grid or your box. A lot of the time can feel quite tight and a lot of constraints because it's boxing you in. It's a paradigm. It's limiting you a lot of the time because you're limiting beliefs and the rules that you're either consciously choosing to play in or unconsciously choosing to play in is creating literally the paradigm that you are boxing yourself in. So you could have a grid for your business. You can have a grid for your money situation. You could have a grid that you've unconsciously chosen to play in with your relationship. I'm going to give you a really whack example right now, right? I'm not married. And at the same time, if I ever do get married, I will consciously choose to create a relationship marriage grid. Because what happens a lot of the time, we unconsciously take on other people's rules and belief systems of people previous to us in previous generations that create the grid that we step into. So think of the collective consciousness, how they have conditioned us of what grid people unconsciously choose to step into with marriage. Oh, the ball and chain. Oh, our sex life is non-existent because we're now married, right? Again, I'm not married and I'm not speaking from experience, but what I am saying is a lot of these belief systems and the grid of the marriage grid, for example, has come mainly because we actually haven't consciously chosen to create a new grid of what I choose the rules and the codes and the beliefs of a conscious marriage to be. It's no different to entrepreneurship. If we go into business and we just believe entrepreneurship in order to get success, we have to hustle and to grind, that is a rule. That is a belief that you've picked up from somewhere else, social media or someone else that's created success, and you've made it mean in order for you to create success, you have to operate in the same box as they did. Where the reality is you get to choose your own grid. You get to choose the playground, the energetic container, the constructs that you operate in, right? So rules, codes, and beliefs is what holds a grid in place. Now, how this relates to multidimensional manifestation is when we look at shifting into new realities, when we look at vibrating in different earths and basically us becoming a new person and operating in a different playground, a different box, a different container. What needs to happen is that we need to bust out of the grid. We need to bust out of the current container. So when we're busting out of a grid, it can literally feel like you're having a breakthrough. So let me break it down for you. Have you ever been in a workshop, a retreat, a personal development, anything, right? Or maybe you're just having a coaching session with your coach, or maybe you're by yourself. And there's this moment where you have this breakthrough where you've busted through an old belief that you're not choosing to believe anymore, or you've had this paradigm shift. And in that busting of that belief, it can feel like a bliss body activation because you've just created more energetic space. So when we're on the edge of our grid, it can feel really tight, like you're about to bust through into a new energetic space. And that's why a breakthrough can feel so like elation, like euphoria, because you've busted through into a new energetic realm, right? And so when that happens is, and this is the key that I really want to land is, when you bust through a grid, new codes are unlocked. Now, why do we give a shit about codes? Codes, remember, are your skill set, your lived experience, and your wisdom that you have embodied, that you are here to teach others. People buy your codes. People buy your energy. In whatever way, shape, or form you like to package it, people are buying your codes, okay? To be in close proximity with your codes. Now, if we look at the version of me who was in a 9-to-5 job and her grid that she was playing in, versus the version of me in the current grid that I'm vibrating in, it's very, very different. Let me show you. I'm just going to wipe this now. All right, guys, so here we go. 9-to-5 Alex grid, 9 years ago. Here I am, unhappy as fuck, no purpose, no vision, nothing. She had, remember, we've got rules, beliefs, and codes. Now, what are the rules that Alex had to play by in this grid? Well, the rules were if she wants to take a day off, she has to ask her boss for a day off. Right, that's a rule. Another rule is if she wants to go to a holiday for Bali for 2 weeks, can she just get up and go? Fuck no, she'll lose her job if she just gets up and go and not turns up to work. So 9-to-5 Alex had a different set of rules, beliefs, and codes that she was operating in, and that was determining her money reality. Right? Her belief systems also were very different to the beliefs I currently vibrate in. Let's think of a money belief that Alex had. I have to exchange time for money. That was a belief that Alex was in. That was part of her grid, right? Another belief might be, I have to work 160 hours per month to get my 3,600 AUD monthly paycheck. That was a rule as a senior graphic designer that I was in my grid 9 years ago. Now let's talk about codes. What codes do you think Alex had 9 years ago? Do you think that I had my courage codes activated? Do you think that I had self-belief codes activated? Fuck no. I definitely had fun codes. I knew how to fuck shit up on the weekend. I definitely had, to an extent, very heart open codes. I was very loving, very generous. That hasn't changed, right? But I had no visionary codes. I had no self-belief codes. I had no courage codes. I had no speaking experience, so no speaker or communication codes, right? So the reason that we want to unlock new codes is because this is going to unlock new financial realities, right? Now, when we look at that and we compare it to the version of me now, we're in a completely different reality. I don't believe I have to exchange time for money at all. That's not a belief in my reality with money. Rules. Do I have to ask anyone for permission for a day off? Fuck no. Do I have to ask permission for anyone if I want to travel for 3 months nonstop? Fuck no. Do I believe that I have to save up money to buy something that I desire? Fuck no. Again, codes. What kind of codes has been unactivated in order to create this new paradigm? My courage codes, my self-belief codes, my visionary codes, my multi-millionaire codes, my speaker codes. And these are all the codes that allowed me to make this kind of money and success, right? So we want to unlock new codes, meaning we want to bust through different grids to unlock new codes, to unlock new financial realities. This is how we do it the multi-dimensional way. The primary school elementary version of manifesting is I'm going to visualize my new car. I'm going to saturate my subconscious mind with what I want. That's good. That's good. It's very basic though. The multi-dimensional advanced way is how do I bust through my current grid to unlock my new unique soul codes that I am here to share with the world so I can get paid abundantly by being authentically me. Because when you have a taste in your business of you getting paid for your unique codes, I promise you, there's no going back. It is such a juicy, delicious reality when you can unlock a personal brand, a reality where you are literally getting paid to be the most unique, authentic, fully self-expressed version of you in your reels, in your offerings, in your containers, in your coaching sessions, and realizing that people are actually just paying you to be around your authentic essence and your codes. This is why manifesting the multi-dimensional way is so sexy, because every time you bust through a new grid, you're actually calling back more soul memory and you're becoming more of who you really are, a multi-dimensional being, an eternal soul. So every time we bust through a constrained grid, we're busting part of the illusion of the ego, the part of us that wants to stay small, right? We're busting through that and we're realizing we're all of it and all of it and all of it. And we're expanding into higher and higher and higher dimensions where more money, more love, more infinite possibilities are becoming available to us. Quick pause, legend. If you're loving this episode, you need to watch the Manifestation Game movie. It's not just a film, it's an activation. If you've ever felt like you're doing all the things, vision boards, affirmations, rituals, but you're still not seeing results, this movie will shift your frequency, rewire your beliefs, and give you the missing code. Watch it now using the link in the show notes. Now back to the episode. So the last thing that I want to land with grids and codes is you're probably thinking, this is great, Alex, but how? How do I actually bust through these grids? If I'm sitting in a shitty grid right now, a shitty money reality, a shitty money grid, a shitty business reality where I'm doing what I don't want to do, how do I bust through it? Good question. There are 3 ways of how to bust through grids. Let me run you through them. By the way, guys, let me tell you about something while I raise this board. If you want to truly unlock your multidimensional self and you're ready to hit that next income level, I run these fabulous next level business intensive retreats every 6 months. The next one is in Hawaii on the 6th, 7th, and 8th of September at Sheraton Waikiki. We've got a few spots left. You're going to be hanging out with multi-6-figure and 7-figure and multi-7-figure badass business owners, industry leaders. If you're interested, just go on my Instagram after this episode and DM me the word Hawaii or retreat, and I can give you all the details. All right, so to bring this home strong, 3 ways how to bust out of your grid. So here you are, shitty money reality, shitty money grid, shitty business grid. You're like, this could be better, this sucks. Now that Alex has told me I can get paid for being my baddest authentic self and just by sharing my codes, how do I do this? 3 ways. Number 1 is identity work. I talk a lot about my bulletproof reprogramming system. And so what we're wanting to do here is you're wanting to emotionally condition yourself to the new version of you. So identity work is you shifting your state of being, who you be on a daily basis. Because the whole thing is we want to emotionally condition yourself to the version of you who vibrates in a different grid. Who's the version of you who already speaks on stage in front of hundreds of people? Who's the version of you who already runs out sold out workshops and retreats? Who's the version of you who XYZ, who makes 50K months, 100K months? They've got new codes unlocked. How do they think? How do they walk? How do they breathe? How do they speak? What do they believe to be true about themselves, about money? This is what you've got to tap into, and which is why I always get my clients to do the bulletproof reprogramming system as a foundational piece. Because it's the identity, you becoming that version of you, which is going to lead into number 2. Number 2, biggest thing of what allows you to bust through a grid is, you guessed it, massive, bold, aligned action. Okay? When you take that scary, big, bold action and you bust through the edge of that grid, even when you're scared, you literally unlock new codes. I was telling my clients this literally last night on a training that I delivered. I said to them, so many of you right now wanting to become a speaker, you wanting to run your own workshops, you want to stand on stage, you want to be inspiring. So you need more courage codes unlocked, and you want to unlock your world-class speaker codes. Is that correct? Everyone's like, yeah. So what do you think Alex did 9 years ago to unlock her speaker codes? Did she like, I'm a speaker. Did she fucking tap herself into, did she tap in her speaking codes and poof magic, there's a workshop filled out? No. She actually took the massive, bold, aligned action. She booked a workshop space. She launched online that she was doing a workshop. She created content to fill out that workshop. And then she somehow had the audacity and the courage to fill out a half-day workshop and deliver incredible value. That doesn't mean that I wasn't shitting my pants and that I didn't have anxiety before I did it. So one of the biggest misconceptions is that you're going to be meditating on your fucking navel all day or plugging into some vibe boosters and poof magic, you'll be standing on stage in front of 1,000 people. Identity work is part of it. It's a big part of it. But then what are you doing with this new state of being? What action are you boldly daring to actually follow through on? And so my clients laughed because it was such a big wake-up call for some of them. They're like, yeah, you actually just did the thing. You took the action. And this is why it's so important to have such a big why, a why that goes beyond your bank account, because your mission, your why has got to be so grand that it pulls you and inspires you into action even when you feel the fear, even when you feel that crippling anxiety or that part of you that wants to self-sabotage. The greater part of you, the larger part of you, your multidimensional self, your eternal soul, the version of you who knows you're a mission soul here to help humanity ascend and evolve, pushes past the egoic part of you that wants to stay small, and actually does that big, scary action step. And that is what busts the grid. And that's what creates new playgrounds for you to shift into and unlocks new codes. Which brings me into the third way that you can bust through grids and unlock new codes, which is number 3, invest. Now, what I mean by invest in containers with people who have already embodied the codes that you need, okay? Invest in a mentor, invest in an environment, invest in a program, a mastermind with like-minded people that have the same values as you, that are gonna keep you accountable, that are gonna uplift you, right? And especially invest and make sure you're investing in a mentor or a coach that is living and breathing what you want to actually manifest, right? Because when they're a living, breathing embodiment of what they talk about, they're not just talking shit, smoke and mirrors on the internet. They're actually a living, breathing embodiment of it. That means they're coded as fuck. They are coded. And so by you paying money to be in that private energetic container, you're unconsciously taking on their codes. You're literally downloading and duplicating their codes, no different to when you were a little kid soaking up your mummies and daddies' beliefs and programs like a sponge between 0 to 7. Now you're an adult choosing to invest in your frequency and your energy and get into the containers that hold potent codes from like-minded people and mentors and coaches that have already created what you want to create. So there you have it. And the last thing that I want to land here is a lot of people will look at my success, especially in the early days, and be like, how does she create such rapid, crazy success? And when I reverse engineer what happened, it's because I was doing all these 3 things on crack all at the same time. I was literally rewiring and upgrading my identity every single day, like my life depended on it. Like every day, I did not miss a day. On top of that, I was becoming this delusional version of myself that believed I was the next Tony Robbins. I was going to change the world. And with that energy, I would do crazy shit like run my first workshop 3 months into my business with no speaking experience, and go to LA 2 years into my business and become an international speaker. All these things that I did before I was ready, because there's no such thing as ready. And on top of that, I was investing again and again and again and again in retreats and masterminds and all sorts of things to get myself into close proximity with mentors and coaches and leaders who were already living the reality that I wanted to live, who already had the codes, the money, the success, the platforms that I knew I wanted to learn from them. What do you believe that I don't currently believe? What can I learn from you that's going to bridge that gap faster, that's going to accelerate my success, right? So because I was doing all these 3 things all at once on crack over and over again, of course I accelerated so fast. So what I want you to do from this episode is I want you to be honest with yourself. What is it that potentially you're not doing right now? Is it that you're pretending to do the deep identity work, but you're doing a few fluffy affirmations, or you don't really have much consistency or discipline or structure in your morning routine? You're kind of dabbling. You're doing a few affirmations, a few meditations here or there, but there's no actual structure. You're not really measuring how you're feeling and your vibe and your routine and a calendar versus the results you're getting, right? You can't see a direct correlation. You're not really feeling activated in a new version of you every single day. Well, your gap is identity work. And until that changes, taking massive, bold, aligned action is going to feel really hard. Or is it that you're doing all that work and you're doing the deep identity work, but you're not actually taking massive action? You're posting, 3 or 4 reels a week, you're doing some content, but you're not really pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. You're not really stretching your capacity, and you're wondering why you haven't shifted into 50 or 100K months. Or is it that the last time you truly invested in yourself, like shit your pants, invested in yourself, like all in, this has got to fucking work, like, oh, fuck 20K, or I just took out a loan, or fuck, I'm stretching myself on this payment plan because I know I need to be in this container. When was the last time you did that? When was the last time you put a bet on you and invested in your energetics, your frequency, your mindset, your business? Not $50,000 for a car that's going to depreciate as soon as you drive it out the fucking dealership. right? But actually you, backing you. And maybe, just maybe, you're doing all of these, but it's like you're doing them all at around a 6 or a 7 out of 10. And you know it's time to crank them up to a fucking 9 or a 10 out of 10 because you're ready to quantum shift. So there you have it. Do all three things at the same time, a 10 out of 10, and I promise you will bust through new grids, you will unlock new codes, you will quantum shift the multi-dimensional way. I love you. There you have it. Pop it in the comments which one you know you need to work on. Is it 1, identity, 2, action, or 3, investing in yourself? I'll see you on the next episode of the Manifestation Game, Legend. Thanks for tuning into the Manifestation Game. If this episode activated something inside of you, please leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And don't forget to subscribe on YouTube so you never miss a drop. Because as you know, my mission is to raise the vibration of humanity on a global scale. So the more people that this reaches, the faster we shift into the new earth. For more daily downloads and frequency shifts, come find me on social media at Alex Tripod. Let's keep manifesting the shit out of life.